Okay, hello everybody. Hope you're doing good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. It's so good to have you on the stream again. I just wanted to I want to confirm a bit if our volume is okay. Okay, hello every. Okay, I think we're good. I've confirmed that already. We are very good. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you again for joining in to our live session this afternoon. This is Àṣà Wa by Tayari.live, and I'm Busola. I am your host. It's always good to bring great stuff to us on this stream that is valuable both for language and also for day-to-day experience and all that. So we've been on a very important um, based journey, Yoruba Proverbs in recent times. I just wanted us to explore um, the the real juice that comes from the Yoruba Proverbs. I mean, I've said a ton of times on the stream that the proverbs, more like clever idioms, have been an integral part of the Yoruba culture for a very long time. A lot of hidden cultural practices, energy for life, wisdom for living, necessary corrections that you would have anyone to actually live with are encoded in this, Yoruba proverbs called Owe. The Yoruba word for proverbs is Owe. And this is really what we're going to be exploring in the next few um, sessions. We've had 3 sessions in this Owe session. I think you should, jump back and look at the first session where we explored about 7 different proverbs, and on the second session we explored around three of them, yes. And then I also shared with us helpful tips on how we can go about um, making this a huge part of your home as a diaspora parent. Because do here at Tayari.live is language and heritage preservation. We are big on it. The entire business of Tayari.live, amongst the many things that we care about, is the preservation of heritage, culture, and the likes. So today will not be an exception. We're continuing from where we stopped. Although I'll be doing a bit of a backtrack for those who are joining us for the first time. So please leave a word in the comment section. Know where you're joining from, what country, what languages do you speak. Drop comments. Let's hear from you. Let the people of the world meet you and know exactly what language you speak. All right, so before I proceed to the way that we have for today, I'd like to make a very quick and special announcement that um, we're going to be having, I mentioned that at Tayari.live, so across different languages, we handle Yoruba and Swahili majorly for now. And for the Swahili rather, we're going to be having a Swahili camp specially for kids for learning Swahili. It's going to be a 5 days camp, 5 whole days camp, and 4 nights, meaning the kids will be there, hosted there with great instructors, great teachers, hosted there on the camp, and it will be happening in Kenya, in Upani in Diani. That's the name of the location, Upani in Diani. And the camp is basically just $399 SAS for 5 days. I mean, think about it: 5 days hosting kids, having fun, giving them, they'll have, nice t-shirts, gaming experience, the feeding, and the like. So it's a whole bunch of an experience packaged in that very, very minimal amount, in all honesty. minimal amount. And then we have a special bumper package, which is if you are going to be paying between now and the 31st of July, because the camp itself is going to be happening on the 16th to the 21st of 16th to 20th rather of August. The camp will be happening on the 16th to the 20th of August. And if you will be paying between now, of which as of today that we're recording the stream. Today's on the 17th. Let me confirm that I have my dates correct. Yes, today is 17th. So 17 between 17th and 21st of July, you're going to be getting a 20% discount off that $399 for the camp for your kids. All right, and of course you can register as many kids as you want. So respect to that, I'm going to leave the form for the camp here so that you can register and let us know exactly how many people they're preparing for. So I'm going to leave it in the comment section. There you go. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the link to the form. Just kindly copy. I think what I'm even going to do let me see if I could still do that for us. 1 minute. So I'm trying to bring up the what's it called? I'm trying to bring up the barcode, so maybe you could just scan the barcode. I think that would be easier. It would be way much easier. Registration for Swahili camp. Okay, 1 more minute. Okay. Okay, we're almost there. 21st July 2026. Okay. I've got 16 to 20. Okay. 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 All right, great. So I think we have the back already. So yep. Awesome. Yeah, so there you go. So you could scan the barcode and just register for the Swahili camp. Like I said, it's fun experience. It's not something you want to miss at all. So please kindly scan the code to register, and then you can have access to register. You get information and everything that you need to know with respect to the camp. So thank you so much. I'm looking out for in our section if we have any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. I'll definitely be glad to respond to it. Okay, that's that about that. So let's jump to why we are here today. Okay, so like I said, we've been having a series of what's it called, proverbs that we've been exploring, and I just want to touch base on some of them before we then proceed. So this was where we were at the instant of the. This was where we are. Where? Yes. So I've said it initially. Maybe just for a background of some of our people who are joining us, possibly for the first time ever. Again, this is Àṣà Wa by Tayari.live, and it is hosted by me. I am Busola, and I am your host, and I will always, at least for the time being, be your host. All right. So we've been talking about proverbs, and proverbs for modern children, just to ancient wisdom for modern children, and all of that. So we've said that in Yoruba culture, the proverb are much more than clever idioms. They are the ultimate vehicle for wisdom, ethics, and linguistic artistry. The Yoruba famously say "Òwe lẹṣin ọ̀rọ̀, bí ọ̀rọ̀ bá sọnù, òwe la fi ń wá," which means proverbs are the horse of discourse. When communication is lost, we use proverbs to retrieve it. So for children growing up in diaspora, learning the proverb offers them a unique entrance to understanding how ancestral viewed characters, the ancestors viewed character, community, and the world, at large. There are three major components that the Owe actually reveals, which is number one is gentle and good character, community and interconnectedness, and then respect and humility. These three things, they really stand as the core of the things that makes that the Yoruba culture really believes in, and a whole lot of a huge well, I'll say most of a huge fraction of the what's it called now, the way the proverbs are formed from from these core values. So in the first section, in the first part, we touched base on proverbs like ọwọ́ kan kì í ọwọ́ kan kò lè gbẹ́rù dórí, which means a single hand cannot lift a heavy load to the head, and that's the deep cultural meaning would be that you cannot lift or carry heavy bodies or achieve great things on your own. We talked about surulere, which means patience has its virtue. Patience is profitable. Basically teaches emotional regulation, delayed reward and resilience through difficult times. And then that one that we touched base on was Aki if your one meji no oju, meaning one does not wipe his face with both of the hands at the same time. That's basically, talking about prioritization and avoiding being overwhelmed with a lot of things, not trying to handle too many things at the same time. All right. And then we touched base on kò sọ́nà kíákíá tí a fi ń mu omi gbígbóná, meaning there are no quick steps to taking hot water. All right, basically this just touches base on when things are tense or stressful, rushing only makes them worse. Of course, I think everyone must have been in that situation before. And then we touched base on ọmọ tó bá mọwọ́ wẹ̀ á bá àgbà jẹun, right? Which means a child who knows how to wash their hands will eat with elders, or it means the moral lesson around that is that if your child develops maturity, respect, integrity, good manners, he will definitely find, or she will definitely find him or herself at tables of opportunities. And then the last one that we touched based on in the first part series was bí a bá sòkò sọ́jà, ará ilé ẹni ní bà lórí, right? Ará ilé ẹni ní bà lórí. Let me take that again. Bí a bá sòkò sọ́jà, ará ilé ẹni ní bà lórí, right? Which means if you throw a stone into the market square, it will most likely hit the head of one of your relatives. That's basically to touch base on how our reckless actions will always find its way. And I took time to really break out some contextual benefits of these proverbs. So that being said about that, so let's go to the next ones that we have. So this was some of the ones that we touched base on in part 2, and I'll just touch on them very quickly, and then we'll go on for the ones that we have for the day. So we said omoni, omonide, omola shende, tobale, omoni, omonide, omola shende, tobadale. Forgive my pronunciation. Let me take that again. Omoni, omonide, omola shende, tobadale, which simply means children are prestigious, children are brass, children, care for the house when we are old. But basically, what it means, right, is that in Yoruba culture, children represent pride, wealth, and continuity. And this emphasizes that burdens, they are blessings, and to ensure family legacy and care for their parents at old age. Right. I think that is wisdom, and I think it would definitely be something that everyone would want to be associated with. So this other one that we have, very amazing one. I think I really like this one. Is Inoku Ofe Eruboju Ogedeku Ofomore Roko Ojo Abaku Ọmọ ẹni ní ń wọlé deni. Right? Let me take that one more time. Inoku Ofe Eruboju Ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ó fọmọ rẹ̀ rọ́pò, ọjọ́ abá kú, ọmọ ẹni ní ń wọlé de ẹni, which simply means, in literal terms, it means when fire dies, ash replaces it. When the banana tree dies or the plantain tree dies, because we use plantain and we use ogede for both plantain and banana, right, in the Yoruba culture, because they have a sort of similarity in look, but until you taste it before you really know the discrepancy, basically. So it means when the banana tree dies, its young one grows in its place. When one dies, it's one's children who inherit your house. But more deeply, what this speaks to is that raising bilingual children acts as a form of immortality. Your children carry forward your language, your story, your values, and when you pass, your heritage does not die because it just continues to live through them. All right, and I love this one too. We touched based on this one in part 2 as well too, which says ọmọ tí a bá kọ́. It says ọmọ tí a kọ́. Let's say that again. Ọmọ tí a kò kọ́, rather. Ọmọ tí a kò kọ́. Ọmọ tí a kò kọ́ tán ni yóò gbé ilé tí a kọ́ tà. Ọmọ tí a kò kọ́ tán ni yóò gbé ilé tí a kọ́ tà. Let me take that one more time. Ọmọ tí a ò kọ́ tán ni yóò gbé ilé tí a kọ́ tà. Or ọmọ tí a ò kọ́ tó ni yóò gbé ilé tí a kọ́ tà. Meaning, a child not properly trained will sell the house built by their parents, which means training a child in discipline, values, and character is essential. Without proper upbringing, a child may squander or destroy what parents have built, whether material wealth, cultural legacy, or the other. So we then go on to say that for diaspora parents, this speaks to the urgency of teaching your child their heritage, language, and values now. The house you are building is not just a physical home, but a cultural identity. Without this training, your child may lose what you have worked to preserve. Very imperative, very important. All right, this one says a child hears and elder hears. If there is no elder, the town will not become wise. So the adage says, ọmọdé gbọ́ gbò, àgbà gbọ́ gbò. Bí àgbà kò bá wá, ìlú Okay, I need to really confirm this because this one is actually very deep. So ọmọdé gbọ́ gbògbò, àgbà gbọ́ gbogbo. Bí àgbà kò bá wá, ìlú ìlú ò lè lọ́gbọ́n, right? Primarily, that's what it should be. Ìlú kì í ṣe DOT. I may have to really confirm what that really means, but fundamentally, that's the whole idea, right? So the wisdom that comes from this is that wisdom comes from the presence and guidance of elders. While children can learn by listening without elders to teach and transmit wisdom, a community loses direction and knowledge. Of course, I said it initially at the start that the three important components of the Yoruba culture is good character, interconnectedness, and community. And then the final thing is respect and humility, and then honor. Now, this is very native to the Yoruba language, it's a matter of honor and respect, right? And it's true. It's not about having information, data, and all that, but it takes someone with experience to be able to look into what that information means and transmit it to the required next line of action that should be taken. Being able to analyze an information is separate from being able to convert it to useful, something useful that brings greater advantage. And basically, that's it. I think there's this other one too that says that nǹkan tí àgbà bá rí lórí ìjókòó, ọmọdé ò lè rí tó bá gun orí igi. Now, what that means is that what the elder will see while seated, even when the child climbs the tallest tree, it will be difficult for them to perceive or see it, right? So, meaning it's not just about exposure to information, exposure to happenings or data. I think the right word for the present day we're living right now would be data. So, it's not really about exposure to data, but about the fact that there's the advantage that the elderly won't have. Basically, I think I should move this way for our audience who are using smaller devices. Okay, great. I think that is way better for their eyes. Yeah. So that's that about that. If you're still here, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this adage. Do you think it is overstressed? Because I know that there are times when people feel like, oh, giving room to the elders, it takes, there's a way they like to do their thing that may be outdated and all that. But then we know that there's still always room for them. I was listening to a football commentary earlier today. I'm sorry for those who don't watch football. And an older player called Thierry, he was commenting on the World Cup finals, which will be happening between Argentina, of course, as of this year. I don't know when you'll be interacting with this content later on. It was talking about how Spain and Argentina meeting at the final. It was like the past, which is Messi, and then the future, which is Yamin Lamar, playing side by side and all that. So that description of the past and the present, of course, in between that, it was saying something like, Messi was the past, present, and still the future. Very hilarious comments, though. But what I was trying to get to with all of that is, even when we call the elders, the past and all that, they still offer relevant value, even in helping to translating what we call modern, right? This is really, and I think this is really the advantageous role that an elder has over a newer generation person, right? And at the end of the day, and it should not be thought as a competitive thing, but something that should work side by side, all right? Because this is very, very, very important. It's very important across different levels, even organizations that I have joined. I've always seen this issue between, the older streams and the younger streams, and the younger streams feel like, the older ones should leave. Then the older ones feel like, the younger ones should acknowledge them, even though it seems as though, they have more of the strength and the vigor and everything, right? But long and short, the entirety of what we pull from all of this is that getting data alone, seeing events alone, doesn't make one wise. There is that advantageous role that the elder has, in which his ability to interpret what is being seen. All right. So that's it for this proverb. So ọmọdé ọmọdé gbọ́ gbogbo, àgbà gbọ́ gbogbo, bí àbá kò bá wá, ìlú kò lè lọ́gbọ́n sí. Very imperative. Very imperative. So okay, let me just read, our deep meaning here. It says that this proverb addresses the diaspora crisis directly. Without active connection to elders and heritage language speakers, your child loses the wisdom teachers who embodied your culture. So it emphasizes the critical role of grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cultural elders in language transmission, basically. All right, now this one says one must examine the family background before naming a child. Now, the actual Yoruba would be Ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọmọ lórúkọ. I'll take that again. Ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọmọ lórúkọ. I'll take that again for someone who is following. Ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọmọ lórúkọ. That simply means we must examine the family background before naming a child. Now, a child's name in Yoruba culture carries ancestral weight. The name connects a child to family history, honored ancestors, and cultural expectations. Choosing a name requires understanding and respecting these roots. Now, it says that for diaspora children growing up with African names, this proverb validates the power of your choice. Giving your child a name and teaching them its meaning anchors them to their heritage, an act of radical cultural affirmation in a world that often pressures assimilation. And I think this is important. I've met quite a number of course, one of the easiest ways to know where someone comes from is the name that they bear. For someone like me, I'm actually always careful when I get to certain places to not just say my name is Busola. No, that's not my name is Busola. Like, emphasis on the what's it called? On the tone, because Yoruba has its tone, the expected sound that follows every name. So I'm not Busola, I'm Busola, which means add to my wealth, right? So I said all that because the easiest way to know where someone comes from, one of the easiest ways, is to know their name. There are certain names when I hear, you can already tell that this person is Spanish. Any Alexandro, which other one is that? And I think the most common, of course, take for example the Chinese. I mean, once you see the name, even without having a picture, you can tell that this is a Chinese name, right? I think the other culture that has that too is the South Americans. They have this similarity with the Spanish community as well too. All right, so they bear a lot of names that have O at the end of it. Of course, for those of us that watch football, once you hear that a player has a name that has an O behind it, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, if you're a Brazilian player and your name does not end with that O at the back, it feels very, very awkward. So I said all of that because it is true that one of the ways that we also preserve language is naming, right? Because just as it says here, that the name connects a child to family history, honored ancestors, and cultural expectations. And that is very, very true. And I think this is something that every diaspora parent must also keep in mind, even as you go to other sides of the world to explore the value that that you can get from there and all that. Also, let's always ensure that our children's name remind them of where they come from. I know a family like that in the United Kingdom. All of their three daughters. I think that the first time they ever got to Nigeria was maybe it wasn't maybe 2010, or maybe long and short. The youngest of them was still around like say 8 9 as of then, and they had already grown up with Yoruba names, right? One of them, Tolu, one, BC, one, Temitayo. They don't know how to speak Yoruba though, in all honesty, because of the communities that they live in. But the parents doing that intentionally has already deliberately positioned them in a way that anywhere they get to, even when their lingual does not show that, you know, they've lived in Nigeria for a long time, the name gives them out and makes it clear that, okay, for you to be bearing this name, you're of this specific root. All right. You see that across even the Nigerian culture as well, too. It's very common as well with the Igbos. You will scarcely hear them use any other name aside from their full Igbo names, and they are very careful to always, use the full thing. You know, uh, Ife Nachuku, in full. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think it's very important that every single person, diaspora parents, keep this in mind. It's very important. Names are one of the ways that we're able to know the ancestral culture that someone comes from. I think this is very important. So if you're joining, I want you to leave a comment. Let's know what your name is, and maybe someone in the comment section can guess where you are from. All right. So let me take that one more time, because this is our last proverb for this part 3 session. So it says ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọmọ lórúkọ. I'll take that again. Ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọmọ lórúkọ. One more time. Ilé là ń wò kí a tó sọ ọmọ lórúkọ. It means one must examine the family background before naming a child. Of course, I don't want to sound like a broken record. This becomes very imperative because it's also one of the ways that culture is preserved, right? You hear a person's name, you can already tell that this person is from this country, this person is from. Of course, now when you're now in the country, you can now drill down and further split it to the separate, different sets of people in that particular country. So yeah, I think that it would be all of the proverbs that we have for the part 3. We're still going to continue. This is a series, right? We're still going to have part 4 and then part 5. So we're sharing all of these proverbs as a way to equip our parents and diaspora parents with wisdom, with resources to also use when you're communicating with your child. If there are certain things that very much that they would need to learn, but you may not know, the Yoruba way of sharing them with your kids, either in your regular conversations. I think the usage of proverbs play a huge role in helping you get it down as well too, when you are also, because the good thing about these proverbs is they don't change. It's like the tonic suffers in music, so they don't change. So it means if you repeat them long enough, when speaking with your children, they will stick it, right? They will stick it. Of course, before we finish, I'm also going to walk us through some 5 suggested ways in which you can crystallize the usage of proverbs and communicating them with your kids as well too. So before we proceed to that, I quickly want to make this announcement one more time, that at Tayari.live, we are hosting, we're currently preparing to host our kids in Kenya for a Swahili camp. And I'm sure you're interested in the Swahili camp for your lads, for your kids. So we're looking at having a Swahili camp, and that camp will be happening on the 16th of August to the 20th of August in Upani. It will be happening at Upani in Diani in Kenya. And this is it's going to be fun. dancing, playing, meeting up with other diaspora kids, connecting. It's beautiful. It's something that every child definitely wants to experience. So that's the form there. Let me display the QR code again for those who would love to. So there you have it. That is the sake of our online community. So there you have it. That's our, yeah, there you have it. So that's the registration link there. Please kindly scan and then register for the camp. It's going to be an amazing experience, trust me. Everything has been arranged for the convenience and excitement of the kids. This is going to be an awesome experience, one that they've really never had before, because these camps are always well taught and well organized in a way that children can learn the language in a very organized way. So music with local language, everything is just furnished in a way to see to it that by the time they are going, leaving the camp on the 20th, they would have had so much fun and they would have stuck the language in their hearts as well too. So scan the QR code to register. The camp is just basically $399, and you can, I forgot to mention this in my earlier announcement, that you can also pay $100. What's it called? First payment. You can make a first payment of $100 just to show commitment, and then pay up the rest as we get closer to the date of the camp, right? Like I said, the camp will be happening on the 16th of August to the 20th of August 2026, right? So share this also with families that you feel like, this will also be of benefit to them. They would also want to jump in, register their kids. Probably this is something that they've been looking forward to having for their own kids as well too. All right, so that being said about that, okay, I forgot to also mention that if you register between now and the 31st of August 2026, you will have a 20% discount off. So keep that in mind, and register on time. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go to the final section of today's um uh part 3. Please, I want you to, um as it concerns you, try as much as possible to go over these proverbs over and over and again. They are very helpful, uh, not just so that we can sound wise or sound smart, but also because they carry so much value that I think our younger generations, and I include myself because I'm a younger generation, so I don't like to look old. The younger generation needs to also run with. So let's quickly run through some of the quick methods that will help you to stick the proverbs to the family. So the first one that we have here is the proverb of the week board. So write one proverb on your kitchen whiteboard every Sunday. Challenge the family to spot real life moments where it applies. For an example, Owoko Kengberu Dori when cleaning toys or cleaning around and all that, just to again, like I said, there's that sense in which if you use the proverbs over and over and again, it will stick. There's just something about familiar information and the brain, right? It's easier to stick compared to having fresh stuff every single time. All right, so implement the proverb of the week board in front of your freezer. So the next one that we have here is correct them without raising your voice or without shouting, right? So you can turn behavioral hiccups into gentle reflections. So instead of reacting with frustration, just remind them with a proverb. They will say, "What's that, mommy? What's that?" So what's that, mommy? When you say you know, when you say the Yoruba one that says "Good charity begins at home." Let me quickly confirm that. Uh, it's Ile Latin koe korire dode, right? So you say stuff like that. Ile Latin kwe korere dode. Say, mommy, what's that? What's that? Right? But you say that over and over and again when you're trying to correct them. At some point, their mind expects you to say that thing. Mommy, what's that thing you usually say? Daddy, what's that thing you usually say? Ile Latin kwe korere dode. Right? Yeah. So instead of shouting, use the proverbs as a way to correct them. It will really be helpful. And then also incorporate it into bedtime stories for families who do bedtime stories. And I really think every family should do bedtime story, or at least some minimal value of um, interaction. It may not be a bedtime story, but all those like final interaction before your child goes to bed, the final voice that they hear before they go to bed and all that. I think every parent should actually incorporate this, right? That the final voice that your child hears when they go to bed, I try as much as possible, if it's within your convenience, that it should be yours, not a cartoon, not, TV and all that. It really, really helps them a lot. Of course, so in those moments of final, whether you are singing together before they doze off, or you're telling a story, to incorporate songs that uses this away, or incorporate stories, and then you can you know, just tell them, this is really a good story that teaches us that surulere, or this is really a good story that tells us that ọwọ́ kan kò lè gbẹ́rù dórí, or a kì í fi ọwọ́ kan gbé ẹrù lórí, right? So you just pick all of those events, stories rather, or maybe songs, because I know that there are numerous songs that you can use for bedtime. But again, I think just as a side suggestion, just try as much as possible to make sure that the last voice that your child hears before they go to bed. Not compulsory. I understand the fact that, I mean, some parents are extremely busy, so this is not like a rule of thumb or something. But I think it does something to the child when your voice is the last voice they hear, not the cartoon, not the things that they are watching and all that. So that's that about that. Then the next one that we have is, so use proverb matching at your game nights, play games. I think flashcards are very underrated, and they really, really do work, because I've interfaced with 2-year-olds who have flashcards, and it's amazing how, mapping the pictures to those words, it really just helps to stick. I mean, there, I don't know. I really do not know the psychology behind it, but I can tell you that it works, right? So create a simple memory card. Yoruba Proverbs on one set, English meaning on the other set, and then make learning competitive and interactive. Making learning competitive and interactive always guarantees laughter and fun and all that. So that's something I think you should also look into. And then, of course, encourage other kids to keep a small journal once in a week and write a proverb. I remember vividly, even for myself, that one of the ways that I actually even stuck some English words faster was that I started writing them down, documenting them. Maybe I'm watching a movie, but I don't know the meaning of this word. I write it down, find the meaning, just put myself in situations where I can use the words over and over and over and again. So again, this all of this really boils down to how your attitude as a parent makes it clear to the child that knowing this language has community value or global value. Because if they see your attitude towards the language as passive, it's going to be the same thing for them. All right. So there's no, honestly, for me, the child can learn many things from school, but it has proven that when it comes to the matter of language, um, the home is just the best school. The home is just the best school. That home environment, or that gamified environment, is always the best place for them to learn all that they need to learn. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 3 of our Yoruba Proverbs, ancient wisdom for modern children. So we're going to proceed with part 4. So if you need access to any of this, I'll make sure that um, our media team post them on our social media handles. So please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on we're Tayari.live on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn. Just follow us to keep tabs with all that we're doing and then sharing some of these very insightful resources that will really, really help you in your journey to helping, your kids know the language and love the language you grew up with. All right. It's been an honor being your host again today. My name is Ogunba Busola Patrick. Again, don't forget to register for the Swahili camp. It's happening on the 16th of August to the 20th of August. And it's just $399. And if you're paying within between now and the 31st of July, you're going to get 20% off. All right. Thank you so much for joining today's live. I am Busola Ogumbayo, and we're on a series um, called the Yoruba Learning, the Yoruba Proverbs series. This was the part three. You could check our page, check the YouTube channel. You will see the part two, and then you see the part one. Although I did a bit of recap in this session, which is customary, I would always do that over and over and again because of our first timers on the stream. But yeah, that's it. So thank you so much. It's been an honor hosting you on this one. And I'm going to be in your face. We're going to be having some great guests from next week. Amazing conversations that will be coming up regarding this topic. Again, to strengthen the fact that what the need we're trying to meet is actually real. The problem is out there. And we are also out here to see to it that these needs are met. All right. I'm signing out this time around. Thank you so much for staying through with me to this point. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Bye for now.